Hey everyone, welcome back again to another Mark and Mark as we continue our journey through Mark's Gospel. If this is your first time perhaps tuning in, just so you know, there are heaps of episodes if you want to catch up from Mark chapter 1 verse 1 all the way up to here where we're jumping into chapter 4 verse 35. So why don't we just jump straight in? We're told on that day, this is the same event that's been happening now for the last few episodes. This is a big day for Jesus. When evening had come, he told them, let's cross over to the other side of the sea. This is into Gentile territory, non-Jew territory. Maybe you might call it enemy territory. So this is a bit of a foreboding request. It's not like, let's go to the other side of the lake. What a delightful time we'll have. This is, let's go over to the other side where all the non-Jew enemy people are. So that's a big deal. And this crossing over, what we're about to look at is the first sea crossing in Mark. He has 3 of them. And this is the first one. Every time Jesus crosses the sea, something big, revelatory happens where he reveals something very significant about who he is. So let's see what happens this time. It says they left the crowd, took him along. He was already in the boat. Other boats were with him. A fierce windstorm arose and the waves were breaking over the boat so that the boat was already being swamped. It's very sudden, very scary. The water has just come up, the wind has come up, a great storm, a mega storm is here. And for Jewish people, water isn't, like an experience of fun time. For us here in Sydney, Australia, the water is summer, it's relaxing, it's going to the beach, it's swimming in the pool, it's having a fun time, it's recreating with all of our friends and family. That's not water for first century Jews. Water is fearful, scary, and it reminds them of judgment. They're thinking things from their history like the flood. They're thinking the Red Sea, where it comes in and crushes and destroys Pharaoh's army. When they think water, one of the things in the back of their minds is judgment, fear. So the water's all happening. We're told, what's Jesus doing? Verse 38, he was in the stern sleeping on a cushion. And so they woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care that we're going to die?" Now, this is a pretty accusatory question. They've said it in a way where they're accusing Jesus. Don't you care that we're going to die? Right? It's judgment. Don't you care? And so we're told, verse 39, he got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, "Silence, be still," and the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. Now, we can be so familiar with this, but when you just stop and think about it as if this is the first time you've ever heard it, this is amazing. No one just gets out and speaks to the storm. Like at this exact moment in time, it's raining here at my house. There is no way I would even think to walk outside and just be like, excuse me, rain, I'm just doing some filming right now. Can you just shh? It wouldn't even occur to me. But here, Jesus gets up, rebukes the wind, says to the waves, "Be still," and then they are. There's a great calm. And the vocab that's used here is very reminiscent of Psalm 107, verses 23 to 29. You might want to look that up. God speaks to the wind and the waves and he silences them to a whisper. It's the same thing happening here. Then Jesus turns to the disciples and says, "Why are you fearful? Do you still have no faith?" Notice how fear and faith here in Jesus' mind are opposites. You either have fear or you have faith. And if they are fearful, then it's proof to Jesus that they don't have faith. So here's this example of the insiders that we've been looking at for the last few episodes. The insiders failing to understand, failing to have faith. Verse 41, they were terrified. Fearful. They were terrified. They were mega afraid. They were afraid with a mega fear, would be the literal. And they asked each other, "Who then is this? Even the wind and the sea obey him." Right? They have failed to understand who then is this. And what we see, the wind and the waves obey him. That's not what happens with humans. Who is this? What we're supposed to see is that this is God himself. Psalm 107. God himself is here, which we've known this from way back in chapter 1, where we were told God is coming back and then Jesus rocks up. We've known it since chapter 2, where only God can forgive sins, and we see it here. This is God himself, and he has revealed himself as he crosses over the sea. And we're going to see every time Jesus crosses over the sea, he's going to reveal something huge about who he is, like this. When you think about this, and even today perhaps, you might ask the same question as the disciples asked here. Don't you care that we're going to die? Right? There is judgment coming. Don't you care? And what we see here in Mark is that the cross shows us that Jesus does care and he is going to save us from judgment. And he does that in the cross. And Mark is here just giving us a little bit of a hint, a bit of a forepicture, as everything in Mark's book is pointing towards this event of the cross. And everything in the book stands in the shadow of Jesus' coming crucifixion. Well, that's all we have time for this time. We'll see you next time.